Welcome to another episode of Everything CPA and Private Equity. And I am so happy. I'm sitting out poolside in a cabana at the Aria in very warm and dry Las Vegas. And I'm so pleased today to be here with Amy Vetter. Amy is a rock star in our industry. And I said that intentionally. There's a lot of music going on in the background. So Amy is the CEO of the B3 Method Institute. And we're going to talk a little bit about the B3 Method Institute and what Amy does and how she works with CPA firms. We're going to talk about a topic that's very near and dear to me. We're going to talk about people. People in this era where everyone's talking not about people, they're talking about artificial intelligence. And so, Amy, welcome.
Well, thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Yes, and please feel free. If I should have introduced you and added something else, you might want to introduce yourself. How did the B3 Method Institute get started?
Yeah, so my background is I'm a CPA. So I started as an auditor in Big Four. I actually started a CAS practice when there wasn't something called CAS. I just grew up in a family of small business owners, and I always thought being an accountant was to help. Like, I always called it like the doctors that used to make house calls. I wanted to be that accountant. So those small businesses understood their books better and how they made operational decisions. So that's what I started. It was a fractional bookkeeping, consulting, CFO practice. I grew it. I became a partner in a CPA firm in South Florida. Eventually, at the same time, I was working with Intuit at the time, doing consulting work on the product. And I ended up writing their advanced certification, which a lot of people that were back in that time did not like that test because it was so hard. I was one of the people that wrote that test, but I was part of the trainers that would go around the 100 city tours with if you learn the new features of QuickBooks, you got a free disc of that license.
Yeah, so you know what? I actually attended one of those Intuit things because
you wanted your free software.
I used to use Pro Series was what I used. I had a small tax practice, and you know, one of the very interesting things, so we still use QuickBooks. Now we're using QBO, but up in the cloud, wherever it is, right? But back in the day, what I ended up getting was lifetime complimentary payroll for my own business. Lifetime. I called him up one day. I said, I started out. It was me. There were no employees. For 6 years, it was me. And then my sister-in-law who had a baby and didn't want to go back to work. I said, I'll teach you how to do some recruiting. So she joined, and I was like, okay, I need to figure out how to pay her as opposed to being an independent contractor. I called them. I'm like, I need to put someone on payroll. I don't know how to do it because I didn't. And they said, oh my goodness, you got a great deal. You got lifetime complimentary payroll. So, but in any event, so you weren't into.
So I was outside of Intuit at that time, but then eventually they ended up hiring me. I sold my business and I worked helping them, and it would be like top 100 firms, teaching them how to have a practice like I had, which was becoming CAS at the time. And then eventually led the accountant program at Intact, which is now Sage Intact.
Yes.
And then from there went to Xero, and I was in a global role with education and enablement all over the world for Xero. So learned a ton. But through that time, I'm also a yoga teacher, 20 years. And I really believed that work could be different in these firms beyond just one product, but a whole really stepping back and thinking about what is it that you want, you dream, if you could do this all over again.
Yes.
And so I created the B3 method to integrate the two worlds together, which is business plus balance equals bliss. And really started teaching that, wrote a book on it. And then it's evolved over time into my second book that was Disconnect to Connect, about connected leadership and nurturing people one by one. And we started building out workplace transformation programs of how that works between technology, people, process, and doing workshops, because it doesn't really matter how great your wellness program is. If your leadership is not on board, nothing happens.
That's right.
And so...
Top down.
Yes. So the Connected Leadership Workshop got developed so we could start with the top and let that start penetrating into the culture of the organization to start transforming it. And over time, one of the things that would really annoy me is that people would call this a soft topic. Because I believe this is one of our hardest topics. It's just we don't want to deal with it a lot of times.
Yes.
Because we're too busy. And so...
Can down the road.
Yes. So I've proven I've had my practice for 8.5 years now. And one of the things that I've proven over time is when people are happier, you not only increase revenue, I have proof of doubling revenue, and reducing your turnover, because you can change busy season. It is possible to do it, but it takes a concerted effort over time. And so I created a metric called fulfillment ROI. So you can actually measure this investment you're putting in between time, money, effort, and see the result over a year, 2 years, 3 years time on your actual firm.
And do you typically with your clients see it, okay, year number 1, a little uptick, year number 2, a little bit more, and that trajectory, does it become a hockey stick?
Yeah, because it's really like an 18-month, 24-month. I mean, you got the bulk of the work usually in the first 12 months, like the heavy work, and everyone has to be committed to that. But after that, I mean, it's now everybody's more innovative, more agile, being able to make small improvements because you've changed the culture over time. And the goal each year is like, how do we get, I have a smaller firm right now. They've got about 14 people, but it was a younger partner who had bought out the practice, and that other partner, retiring partner, was still there over this time period, but she wanted to start working on this for when she took over. And they have pretty much tripled in revenue over the last 3 years, gotten down to a 45-hour work week, but her new goal is a 4-day week.
4-day week.
And so it's like, how do you keep pushing, and very transparent with her team, her staff. And that's the biggest piece of this. It's not
transparency.
It's not just about the leadership team going in a room and doing this by themselves,
but sharing those.
How do you bring everyone along with you, and everyone's working toward it?
Yes.
How does everyone show that they care about the future and they're able to help create it? It's not just the leadership team trying to figure it out.
Let's go back to your fulfillment ROI, because obviously, and I'm not going to use a term like a soft topic, because again, this is a very hard topic. It's very, very important, culture. And frequently when we're getting involved with firms, we do a lot of M&A. I say it's chemistry and culture, number 1. I don't care how much money it is. You know what? Chemistry and culture trumps all. Yeah. If it's not there, you run. Do not walk.
Right.
Do not walk, and do not be deluded because there's a bucket of money that's at the end of the rainbow for you, because you're going to be miserable if you becomes like a can. And then how do you cut it out? So, but let's talk about fulfillment ROI.
Okay.
Because you said you have the ability to actually measure the return on, I'm going to say this, doing yoga, the wellness, the beat, the balance and bliss. So let's tie all that together.
Yeah.
So I have a firm, let's say a small firm. I've got 4 partners. I've got 12 staff members. I've been a $3 million firm for the past 10 years. And we bring in you and now I'm going to say it, the
B3 method.
I just renamed our company.
It's okay.
The B3 method. Yeah, the B3 Method Institute.
Yeah.
We hire you to come in. What does that look like? And you said it takes about 18 months. But I would imagine you have to have a baseline of here's where they are today.
Yeah.
So are there assessments? Talk to me about what.
Yeah. So when I say 18 months, I mean it's a phased approach, and people decide where they want to stop and go. It really depends. But the first phase is always to get the leadership team together and aligned on the direction they want to go. So what I typically hear and observe is the leadership team's frustrated. This generation doesn't work like we do. We can't get them to care about their job like we cared about their job, or work like we work. They don't work like we work. We give them all these benefits and they don't appreciate it.
Yes.
So it's on and on and on. So my approach is we do 100% participation of the firm has to participate in our own research so that we can get the staff feedback and the partner feedback and the middle level management feedback and separate that.
And is that anonymous, or do the partners, if I'm a staff person?
No, it's totally anonymous.
Totally anonymous.
Yeah. So we clean everything.
So they can't identify the staff
No,
person.
and it's in generality, because it's like basically this is how the staff's view. So this is the thing, that everybody's got a perspective, and that's what they believe the reality is.
That's their reality.
And we have to come together where we've got one truth.
Yes, one reality. This is what a real...
Yes. And so what this does is help uncover where are the misperceptions.
Yeah.
Also in observing why we see certain behaviors. And sometimes too, as leaders, we get so far away from remembering what it was like to be a new staff person, what it was like to be a senior accountant, what are the pressures of being a manager, because we've got our own pressures as a partner and a leader. So that's where our head is. And then that's our lens. And we forget about that lens of like that struggle.
Yes.
And I truly believe that no one takes a job to screw up.
No.
And when they walk in the door, they're like, I can't wait to see what I can do here. And then we slowly crush it.
Yes.
Not meaning to.
No.
But because there's a way.
Their most excited day is the day that they join.
Yeah.
And then because that culture doesn't, provide that balance and...
Or all the reasons you hired that person because they were innovative or creative, and then they come into the culture that doesn't allow innovation, doesn't allow creativity.
Sit there and do those tax returns.
We've always done it this way.
Yes.
So even if we've got the programs to say we are an innovative firm, how are we really living that? Well, it's important that we know that. And to your point, this is really important because your most burned out people are your A players.
Yeah. Well, their gift for doing great work is we're going to put more on your plate,
And so they come in excited, then we exhaust them. And it's their fault too.
Yeah.
Because they're like, yes, I'll take that. Yeah, because they don't
know how to say no.
And they want to prove that like they can do it and they're worth, and they like the work.
Yes.
It's not that they don't like the work. But then you're like, they're fine with it until they're not fine one day.
Yes.
There is a day that comes where it's just like, I'm exhausted. I got to exit this.
Yes.
I go to my leadership team. I tell them, they're like...
deaf ears.
Yeah, it's not happening, or maybe they heard, but then they didn't do anything about it.
Yep.
So they're going to exit at a certain point. And so there are some generations that will exit sooner.
Yes, yes.
That will not...
It's like, I'm leaving, and by the way, today's my last day.
Yeah. Younger, like, I'm a staff person. I'm just not going to put up with this culture, which is why... a lot of times in leadership, they're like, they don't get it. But
there's that disconnect because I'm a boomer and we're dealing with a Gen X, a Y, millennial, whatever.
Yeah, and so the things that you do, one of the things that we're very clear about in that initial phase is we do an anonymous research study. We also do live in person to get some statistically on each level, so we can get more color to what we're seeing.
Yep.
We come back and we give them the feedback. Where is it going well? Where is it not going so well? What would be your highest priorities to work on? But also, what does that mean time-wise to do that? What does that mean money-wise to do that? And a lot of them are looking at, should I take PE? Should I get acquired? Okay, let's look at what it would take to do this yourself?
Yes.
And what it really means to get acquired, and are you okay with that? And then let's compare it.
Yes.
And decide whether you're willing to make the effort or you just want out.
Yes. And is it good for my people?
Yes. Right. Well, but yeah, I wish that was the discussion more.
Yes. Yes. Usually.
I mean, you have to be a leader that's thinking about the people, because I think and I have been in rooms where I've been very impressed with partners and how they've made that decision. And I have been in rooms where they're very much about, I am tired, I don't want to do this anymore.
So
if this means that much more effort, I'm willing to just be acquired, and I don't really care that these people have worked so hard to try to move up the ranks and become partner one day.
Well, and while you're on that topic, so today, I'm sure you saw the announcement that Anshin was acquired by Baker Tilly.
Yeah,
Now, Anshin was like a $150 million firm. They're a client of ours, or they were. Baker Tilly, we've done some work with, but you would think that a firm of that size, if they wanted, could have had a private equity group that said, you're a $150 million firm, we're going to build around you. But they went with this multi-billion-dollar organization. Now, I believe that the managing partner of Anshin, well, he's going to be the partner in charge of the New York City office.
Right.
Which essentially is going to be the same job, but in a much larger organization.
Yeah,
so they don't have to worry about money now for AI.
Yeah.
They have all those resources and everything like that. Look, so far the jury's not out yet on, is it really good for the young people? Now, if they're partner path people, probably, because they'll get to take some chips off the table long before the traditional model, which is work 40 years and then get paid out over 10 or 15 years.
Yeah.
So I think it will be good. But what are your thoughts on an organization like that has a culture? And that's a culture of so many of the partners started there straight out of school, grew up together. And now they become part of this ginormous organization, something like, do you think that the B3 Method Institute could be utilized for post-merger integration?
Yes.
Okay.
So, and I've actually done individual coaching with partners that have been in that situation of going into a larger organization, because I think what the struggle is when that happens, well, at the end of the day, and this is a human thing, and we all have to just realize it, it's ego.
Yes.
Right? So we've already been known for something in the prior organization. I don't know Anshin in particular, but I'm just going to say in a prior organization, I've built my experience. I've built my respect. I know how to get my clients. When I go into a larger organization like that, they're going to maybe change my vertical. They're going to change what my responsibilities are. I'm going to have to prove myself again.
And if you're one of those partners that were in line, maybe that line is now longer because it's not just your firm.
Or it's a new opportunity for you.
Yeah.
And so that's what I've seen a lot is, and this is where we've done really good work, is getting down to the root of, like, you hear a lot of complaining of, like, my life's horrible now with PE and blah, blah, blah. But when you get down to it, it's not really the PE. I mean, yes, it's a new situation. It's that I don't want to have to go learn again.
I want to change.
I was ready to retire in 5 years. I was ready. Like, I didn't know I was going to have to, like, re-up and show what I can, with all new people. Like, the people I was with already knew what I could do. And when you get down to that, and instead of looking at it like, oh my God, that's a negative, instead it's like, wow, this is really cool. Like, if I could step back and say, you know what? I want to change my vertical. I want to learn I want to learn.
Yeah.
And I'm going to break down that ego piece and start networking and start learning from some of these other partners that are in that vertical, and how could I really make my space and make it a team and collaborative. That's a different way of going about things than what the traditional firm has been in the past. It's been a eat what you kill.
Yeah.
So there can be a lot of positives with it, but also this is the decision matrix of fixing it yourself, or
or,
being
to someone
acquired
else.
because you're going to lose that control over, I've been sitting in rooms with firms where every partner's been there since they were an assistant accountant.
Yep.
And it's like they don't want to lose what they have. So they're willing to make the 12-month, 2-year, 3-year continuous investment in innovating that firm and making it self-sustainable. But it means you have to change the model, and none of that's bad.
No, it's not bad. It's hard work. It's a heavy lift. I think a lot of firms can't do it without the support and assistance of someone like you. It almost sounds to me like, you are not only helping them become aligned as a partner group and enhance the culture within the firm. It sounds like to me that there's you play a little bit of a role of almost like a doctor of psychology. I'd say psychiatrist, but you can't prescribe medicine. But it's almost like you're there to help change their mindset. And you said it. It's how you think about something. Mm-hmm. Is it a problem or is it an opportunity?
Right.
And is it, hey, something new, I got to change, I got to do X, Y, and Z. You can look at it as change is difficult, it's hard, I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
It's a problem for me, or you could embrace it. And
it depends, your wherewithal to go. Usually this is a lot of individual work each person has to do, because that outward behavior or habit or things that they're saying goes levels deeper into a belief system. And where did that belief system come from? And until we can get to that, you can't break the habit. You can give all these tips of better time management and better this, but unless you will allow yourself to really understand why you do what you do,
yes,
it's very hard to change the actual habit.
Yes, spoken like a doctor. I'm going to start calling her Dr. Amy Vetter. But Amy, as we wrap up, anything you'd like to share with our listenership that, would be valuable to them? And, could be a story, could be something you've seen, or anything you'd just like to share with our group.
Yeah, I know this is possible. When I started this in 2018, everyone was like, no accountant's going to want to hear about mindfulness and how that's brought into a culture, and it's just not true. There are just a lot of people that are privately frustrated. So I would say speak up.
Yes.
Like, you can make a difference. And don't feel like because for 20 years you didn't speak up, that this isn't the time to say we need to do something to shift this. If you really care about it, it can happen.
That's a wonderful thing. And what I'm going to leave our listeners with is, so when I used to be in the restaurant business, I used to say I loved a customer that came up and complained to me because I could do something about it.
Yeah.
It was a customer that just quietly walked out, kept their bad experience themselves, and just never came back.
Yeah.
And I liken that to the employee that doesn't say anything, or the partner that doesn't say anything and secretly says, okay, you know what, I gotta find somewhere else to go because this culture's not aligning with me.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, Amy, I can't thank you enough for being here and sharing your time. We've been with Amy Vetter here at the AICPA Engage Conference. We thank our listenership. If you like what you heard, like us, subscribe, tell a friend. We're here to educate you, and go out and have a wonderful day. And once again, Amy, thank you very much.
Thank you.